All right, good morning traders and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. We'll go through live analysis like we do every Monday and Tuesday and Friday, 10 a.m. East Coast time. And then we have live trading with Stocks Trader, J Trader, and on Wednesday, 10 a.m. And then Thursday at 10 a.m. we have Scott Pulcini, Futures Trader. This is all a part of the education. It's all free. Within Bookmap, we have an educational course. That is the beginning of the journey. From that course, we have the live analysis that Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And we go through that same course content, but forward-looking analysis, foresight here, not hindsight education. So that you can apply exactly what you've learned and build trust with that education. Then we have a couple different traders with very different trading styles, one for stocks, one for futures. And then also we have Tom B in the afternoon today, tomorrow, and Wednesday at 11:30. So once this webinar ends, he will begin and go for an hour and a half. I'm sorry, 3 hours. And he looks at volume profile for strictly the ES. Okay, so we have different traders in here. We have the course, we have the analysis, put the whole package together for you, and it's the education you get here for free. We think it's a pretty robust offering that's free. So anyway, let's go through the disclosures and jump in. General disclosure, it's important to understand this. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Let's jump in. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Doug. Yeah, thank you. Welcome back. Nice to be back and see what's cooking here in these markets. Good morning, Slowdown. All right. So we're even though we had some good data on Friday, knocked it out of the park basically with unemployment and FOMC non-farm. The market is selling off. Makes sense. I mean, you know, although the employment data is good, we might not go in recession. You know, all this stuff is spinning and spinning and spinning. But the market's worried about inflation. And if more employment here just means kind of a spiral of inflation and wages, wage growth. So anyway, we can see the market selling off is what it boils down to. And that's really all we really care about. What is the reaction to the news? We can put together a fundamental kind of outlook here. But it's really what dictates here is the market and it's the price. And what is the best way to understand that? It is the order flow. Okay, the order flow tells you what the market thinks. So let's just take a look at what's going on right now. Okay, I've zoomed out here from have pretty nice chunk of data here from June 10th here. So at the open on Sunday, and you can see the drop. Okay, high liquidity up here at 3,900, the figure, and then we see the sellers come in and move the market away. Well, what's happening after that? Well, here's more limit sell orders at this area here, 10 points lower at 38.90, quite a bit. And the market continues to go down. And then it reaches an area down here where there's high liquidity. Guys, we go over this in the higher time frame. I mean, it is the same thing though when we zoom in and look at much smaller time frames. Exactly the same thing. We can see that you know, there was this is the you know, European Open here, 2 a.m. But maybe there's some news here as well. Quick move to the downside. Where did it go? High liquidity on the bid. And some of these guys pulled here, but they got filled in here, it looks like, in some of these areas. Anyway, we get a kind of a double bottom pattern out of there. This is a difficult double bottom to read, I think. We have selling here and some selling here. It looks like it should go lower, even though they are bidding up here, where they were here down at kind of this 59, or I'm sorry, 38.60, and then they started to add in, and then they started a front run as well, add more in front of it, and we see the move to the upside. Okay, again, towards liquidity, always the same picture, towards liquidity. They didn't get back up to this 90 level, but they got up into this area here at 85. And then let's zoom in here a little closer and see what's going on in the cash open. Again, boost or price move up into high liquidity, and then a move down into high liquidity here, here, and still trading in, and they're still on the bid at these lower levels here. So here's our 38.50 down here, and they're front running there as well. We're starting to see a lot of buyers come in right now as well. I think we'll go through the order flow right now and at the lower time frame, and see what's going on here. But I want to take a step back, I think, today and go over higher time frame structures, etc. Like right now in the lower time frame, looks like they want to trade up to the 64 level here. We see quite a bit of buying coming in here, but they've made an equal high, slightly higher high, and a slightly in a higher low here. So we're looking for buyers here, and we're looking for them to reach here 65, maybe 70 as well, okay, in this small time frame, right? That's just the order flow reading right now. We've tested here just once, but this is our second test here, and looking to see if these buyers can lift it. I really like this kind of area here just because of the previous action, and it's kind of at the upper band of the liquidity around this kind of 65, 66 level. Okay, maybe they can reach up to 70 though, maybe even 74 up here, kind of where it broke from. Actually really truly broke from up here around 82. Right, so anyway, that's the current read, and you can see that we're finding some buyers in here lift the offer, so looking for them to continue here. We could get a nice little short squeeze in here as well. Okay, so the move to 70 is on the radar here. All right, so let's put a little structure on it though. Take a look at that and see what we think of that. Just some simple, very simple structure here, breaking out of a range here, for example, on heavy buying though. That's what we're looking for, right? So it's this area in here we're looking at. And understanding. That's why we're giving this kind of analysis for the order flow to a bit of an imbalance here on the buy side, so looking for it to continue and try to explore a little bit higher here. All right, so that's that. Let me see if there's any questions here. Nothing in Discord, nothing in YouTube. Okay, good. All right, so anyway, bit of a pullback at the moment. This is where I'm really curious to see. I don't see much liquidity in here, but let's see if they can buy off of this trend line here. Okay, so the liquidity is not there right now, but maybe they'll come in. They're really down here, so it's not looking too good for the buyers to bounce off of this trend line here. Okay, so maybe a bounce off of 57 though, down here. All right, so anyway, we'll see how this kind of reacts in here. All right, we'll come back and take a look at that. All right, here's what I kind of wanted to go over today, and how to understand what the next move is. Farhan, yeah, well, all right, let's break it down, and we're going to take it to the higher time frame as well, you must be new in here because we go through this process every day here. Good morning, David. It's just the reading of the order flow. Okay, so one is the heat map and the liquidity. Okay, these are limit buy orders below the market, and these are limit sell orders above. Okay, that's all it is, and we're just recording it from your DOM or your current order book here. Okay, see the numbers in here. This is the amount of contracts at each price level, and then below on the bid, these are sellers and these are buyers down here. This is your DOM, your like your level 2. Okay, and that's it. We just take it, in the heat map here, in the current market, everything to the right of the vertical white line here is the current market here. All right, so this is our current best bid and offer, last traded volume, and then this is our price ladder. So we want to see how they're not bidding up here. We'd want to see that. Actually, we want to see them bid up. If they are going to buy off this trend line, I want to see buyers here, okay, wanting to get a discount here, thinking that there's more buyers in general in here and that price will explore higher. Well, they're not here. Okay, so that's one element right away. So that's why we're looking for possibly the move down here to 57. Okay, that's one. That answers your question there. There are other answers to your question, other parts to it. Understanding the aggressor. Okay, so let's take the liquidity heat map off for a moment and just read the aggressor. The aggressor is the traded volume, the transactions. We call them the aggressor because these are market order transactions. Okay, a red dot is a market sell order. The size of the dot shows the amount traded in the graphical reference here, representation. Green dots are market buy orders. So look at all that selling. But look at the buying come in here, and we make a slightly higher high. And then we're talking about structure now too. So not just the aggressors, we're talking about structure. So sideways consolidation in here, but with a slant to the upside. So just the structure alone has a slant to the upside. Also, so do the dots in here. Okay, on this very small time frame from this point onward, okay, there are more buyers here. You can just see it in the amount of the quantity here, or the color, the size of these dots. So we're looking for more buyers to come in. It's as simple as that. Okay, now what we want to see where it might go, that's when we turn on the heat map. Where price might go. Well, it's got to transact. It has to transact with buyer or sellers on the other side. That's how the market works. It's buyers and sellers. So where the majority, I'll ask you, Farhan, where are the majority of sellers in this picture, in this current market right now? Okay, just what you just learned, where do you think the sellers are? Well, they're up here. They're up here, 38.70. Okay, but we need to see the more aggressors in here to try to reach that. So that's why we didn't like, you know, the support being down here, right? We want to see the support up here in these areas, just like this. The support came in. See how they started to kind of there was support down here, here, and here. Okay, on the bid. These are limit buy orders. And as we go across, okay, they transacted in here, transacted in here. Okay, and we want to see them bid up like this. Okay, this is good, right? It looks good to trade up to 70, and that brings us to the current market. Okay, it's just that what we want to see more underneath at a higher level here. Okay, under here. And we want to see these guys maybe pull their liquidity here. Oh, you're welcome, Farhan. Excellent. Yeah, you know, I know this can look very confusing, and it looks like there's a lot of information here, and there is a lot of information here, but the process is pretty simple. Okay, so here we got up here and see how they're not. I mean, they're supporting it here, but it's just not enough. Sellers can, you know, it's kind of dark in here, so sellers can bring it right back down. You know, here we had an answer, or kind of answered the question a little bit. Here it looks pretty good. Buyers, there's more cluster of buying up here. This is pretty good. We come back up here and we don't have too many buyers. Okay, so sellers rotate back in and bring it down to the bottom of the range here. Okay, now look at this here. Look at 58. See them coming in at 58, and also here at 62. Right, so they kind of narrowed that range now on this smaller time frame. Okay, so let's see if these guys stay in the book here at 58. Yeah, kind of not. Okay, now do we get enough buyers back up here at 61? And I want to see these guys pull here on the offer. I don't want to see them, maybe this guy pull on the bid here and add higher, maybe around 60. That would be bullish. Then we'd be looking for the move back up into not only the high here at 65, but then our 70 level looks pretty good at that point. Okay, so it's the context here of the auction, and we're truly reading, you know, the auction here. Yeah. All right, so let's take a step back here, and you can see here comes a barrage of sellers, pretty strong selling. Okay, so they're starting to move the market here. Okay, or at least move it away from this zone up here. Okay, so our 57 just transacted. Okay, we have another trend line down here. I don't see support, a little bit here at 55. All right, let's see, any other questions here? No, we're looking pretty good. Okay. Yeah, let's see if we get our sellers in here. Not really. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. Okay, they should be able to move it down to 52 and 50 now. They've got enough selling pressure. This is you know, we see this pretty strong selling in here, but we need to see some of the follow through, and they started to sell a bit more here at a lower level. That's where we're looking for our follow through. So sellers got it. Now if they want to continue to sell into the figure here down at 38.50. Okay, there's our 52 level. Okay, and then looking for 50 here. All right, and then that'll break to the low here, lows of the day. Strong selling. This is what we look for here. You know, to move it away from all of this cluster or this kind of consolidation here. It's pretty good selling. So yeah, let's see. I want to see them move it actually through 50 here. I want to see these guys trade in here, and maybe we can get down to 47, maybe even like 42 here. Okay, this is where I want to lead into the higher time frame analysis. Okay, so if I'm zoomed out here, for example, let's take a look at this. Okay, well, strong selling, strong buying starting to come in, buying coming in, unable to lift it higher, and then we're looking and watching in here, and we were looking for that bid to help us out a bit, and it really wasn't there. Then the sellers came in, and then we're able to move it and make a new low here. Okay, so now let's just take a look at the selling. Pretty strong in here. So the direction here is for trend continuation. Then that's what we'd be looking for. Okay, if that's not the case, and it's not going to be trend continuation, we've got to see a lot of buyers come in here. See how the order book here, see how they're on the offer here, see how we're getting sellers here. Okay, so I'm looking for sellers to continue to hit the bid into this liquidity, and I think they can trade through it. Let's see if we have more sellers, more red dot or you know, aggressive market sell orders, then we do limit buy orders here. Okay, the liquidity. If we have that, we'll see this drop into maybe 45 or 42, the next levels of liquidity. So Raja, you're talking about a strategy here. Where should you place the orders? Well, this is we can talk about strategy. This is about reading the order flow. Okay, Bookmap is a platform, not a strategy. That's why we have the different traders that will go through specifically their strategies. Right, but we talk about it in here in these webinars, no problem. There are many strategies, many ways to look at this. All right, so it really depends on what suits you and how aggressive you are, what is your time frame, how much money do you have to leverage, etc. These are all questions that you'll need to have to answer. It sounds like a cop-out. It's not. It's just it's up to you. You know, if you're looking for like a trap down here and then buyers to rotate back in, that's a possible strategy here. Okay, we're looking for more sellers here right now in continuation. Well, the being being upended, we're looking for a ton of buyers to come in right here actually. Okay, right now. Then they'll trade immediately up into 56. Okay, because that's where the liquidity is. And see how 56 is kind of pulling in here, or just in front of it there. Okay, even though we see these buyers coming in like this, the strong move is still the sellers, and they started right around here. So this is a pullback right now to 58. Okay, so we're going to look at something else in here in the order flow. Right here, around this 58.5. This is where it drops. See where it dropped from here? Okay, so we need to see buyers above that area. Then all of these sellers in here are basically trapped. Look for the short squeeze to the upside. Okay, now how do you manage something like that? If this was going to be a squeeze, how would you manage something like that? Well, it's up to you. But I personally, how I would be looking at it is I'd be looking for the same thing we were looking for earlier over here. Buyers at these higher levels a lot. Okay, I want to see the bid support it underneath. I want to see them pull on the offer here. Same idea. Okay, so here, look how did they buy up here? No. Did they buy up here? They even made a lower high here. So I'm actually looking for sellers below this 55 area here. And let's see if we can get it. If we can get sellers below it, then we'll get a move down probably to about 51 or the figure at 50 here. Okay, so let's see if we get our sellers here instead. Okay, we're not. Okay, we're getting buyers here. Okay, so we got our buyers here, right? Even though we had a lack of buying in here, and then we made a lower high in here, we're looking for sellers in here. We didn't get them. We got buyers up here. Then we're looking for the breakout. Now I know that sounds like hindsight, but guys, I mean, we've been doing this forever in here, and we look for that. Okay, now the question is this sustainable? Okay, it's already pulled back right to 57. Okay, so if you're bullish in here, then that would be your entry on the pullback, right? If you're bullish. Okay, we can look at the trend line. Okay, bounce off of that. It's in the trend line. It doesn't really matter. It's just like we kind of anticipate if we're going to see a move to the upside in here around this little level in here. We want to look at the order flow. Let's see a few more questions in here. Yeah, if you want to use delta, for sure, Raja, that's absolutely. I mean, look, the one thing that I would say in here is, like, you know, the way that we look at indicators is to not to look for a signal from an indicator. It is a confluence. So we read the order flow first, then we look at for the additional insight from the indicator. And that goes for all of them. Stops, icebergs, whatever. Okay, we can read the stops and icebergs right here on the chart. So look at the iceberg buying down in here. Kind of interesting. Yeah, how many is that? So we were down here around 2,500 up to yeah, so around 500 on this little area in here. Okay, people getting stopped out on the way down, stopped out on the way up a little bit. Anyway, to help out a bit more, you know, to look for like a prime setup here or a prime order flow reading here. Okay, well, we've been talking about it, about seeing on the bid, you know, that we want to see them at a higher level. We also want to see them pull on the offer. We want to see the aggressive buyers come in. Okay, see how it's dark in here right now? They're down here at 53.5. They're up here at 58. Well, price can move back and forth in here very easily. Okay, so it's not a prime setup. So this if this is a bullish move to the upside in here, it's not a prime setup right now. Okay, or it's not a prime order flow reading, I should say. Okay, we want all pieces in here. Okay, here, let's just you know, kind of adjust this trend line. Yeah, see, the aggressors are coming in. They haven't made a higher high here. They're not on the bid though. Okay, they may shoot right up into 62 here, but we don't have all the pieces in here. Okay, so in fact, watch this. Sellers can very easily, see how it's dark in here? They can very easily drop it back down to like 55 or 53, 53.5. Okay, so don't get caught up in it unless the market points towards something stronger via the order flow. These are great questions. Keep them coming, guys. Happy to answer them. I did want to step back and look at the bigger picture here and go over more. It's the same reading though, but I want to use the bigger picture. Okay, so that you guys have something more to kind of lean on. Okay, so look at the aggressors, right? They're going to go right for that 62, it looks like. You know, we just don't have the full picture here. Watch sellers come in now and try to drop it right back down to maybe 56, 55. Okay, and this is where sellers came in up here as well. This is another line that's pretty important here. And we're getting buyers through it. Now, see how they're bidding up underneath here? This is what we want to see. And we want to see all these buyers up here too. Now, the thing is that, you know, this is good. It's a good reading. However, look at the price structure. Right? It's a little too high here. Unless we see just a ton of buying in here, then we'd be looking for the continuation. Okay, so yeah, if we got it down in here and we had these green dots, it'd look great to carry it on up and then take some profit up in some of these areas here. But seeing this in here up at this area here, I don't like it. Like it's good to see the support, you know, on the bid here, but it's just a little too lofty here, and these guys can pull and sellers can drop it right down into like 58 or 54 or whatever. Yeah, so some of them in here, they pulled, traded into 60.5 here, and then they're still trading lower, right? So see how we just kind of kept away from it. We had our reasons to keep away from it due to the order flow. That was the reading in the order flow. Okay, we were looking for the move higher here, but we didn't have all the pieces, so we knew that sellers could have come in this area here and dropped it really quickly back down to here. It's just not worth it. You know, we look for the prime setup in here or the prime order flow reading, and then we look for the continuation to the upside here in that case. In your question on the delta, so we can look at CVD in terms of delta here. We'll turn stops and icebergs off for a moment. Okay, so and yeah, I know a lot of traders like CVD. I don't mind it either. I like it, but like I said, I just like it in context here, to use this in the context here. So what kind of reading is it giving us in here? Yeah, you know, there is the divergence here, no question. Okay, there's still, and then we saw, see, we didn't see how we didn't need CVD to read this. We already knew this. Look at the buyers that came, sellers, moved it down. Buyers came in here, buyers came in here. That's why we're looking for the move higher. And we didn't have CVD on at that point. Huge diversions. Okay, here, look at this, higher high here, or lower, higher low here in CVD, lower low in here, or lower compared. And then again here's a lower low here, and CVD is actually higher. Why is there divergence? It's because of all of this buying. That's why. It's as simple as that. Okay, and we already knew that. Okay, so we're looking to see, the sellers had control here. They truly did. They could have moved this lower. They didn't. Right, so we went with the opposite scenario, and then we started to talk about what that might look like. And we were looking for that move up in here to 56. Okay, if we get buyers up in here. Okay, they did it. They moved it even higher, and they're still well, they still moved it higher. Okay, now look at the sellers come in at the bottom here, just at the bottom of the range here. All right, let's take a step back here. To set up exhaustion levels a little. Yeah, exhaustion is a pretty simple thing to read in Bookmap. You're just looking for, or something related to exhaustion at least, would be like in here. Buyers at the top here, not too many up here, but there was some, right? They could have moved it. They didn't. If they don't, we look for the sellers to come back in the kind of the bottom of the range here like this. Then they moved it. Here's the pullback to it, and then the continuation here. Okay, I don't like going over the hindsight stuff. We want to do this in real time. We want to capture those. And now here's what potential strategies though. Okay, if you look for that, then here's your pullback here to where it dropped from, and you'd be looking to trade it down at least to the bottom of the range here. Okay, that would be like a 3-point move or so. It's not much, but you can take some profit there and hold for a runner, right? If you believe they're going to come back down into these lower levels here, due to, here's your kind of semi-exhaustion up in here. Hope that answers your question. Yes, that's right, Raja. That's exactly what I look for, or what we want to read in here is weak tops and bottoms. It's in your order flow. Even look at the profile in here. This is still a weak top up here. Okay, so if we get enough buyers in here, we should be able to blow through it. Okay, this is a weak top because there's traders up here, there's buyers up here, there's buyers up here. Okay, they made a lower high here, so we need to see though. But if we can come back up here and get more buyers again, we should get a breakout. We'd be looking for our original level back here, 70. We're looking for it now here as well. We're looking for 70. Okay, so look at the profile. And the profile, all it's doing is collecting all of the volume from a level, or one price level across, and just putting it into a profile. Okay, here are buyers. Now we're looking for a breakout, 70. Okay, so how do you get in? How do you, well, you jump in and you look for it. You're looking for the push higher here. Okay, now do we have a prime setup or prime reading in here? It's a little bit better now. They're on the bid underneath here. Okay, so looking for the push to continue here. Yeah, we didn't really have it in here, right? They pulled that liquidity in here, although we were looking for it and we had our reasons due to the aggressor. Okay, and we're looking at profile only here, so only transactions here. We're looking for that breakout. Okay, we got it. Now is it sustained though? All right, well, let's zoom in. Are they on the bid? Yeah, a little bit. Okay, are we? I mean, you can see these are the responsive sellers selling it back into the mean here, maybe back down to about 57 or so. Okay, well, we're still finding buyers here. So let's see them move it to our 70 level. Basically still looking for higher liquidity up in here to be filled. They're on the bid underneath here. This is looking better. I like it. So let's see. I like it here. I like the reaction to this here being buyers. Okay, now let's see these guys at 67 pull, and then I want to see the buyers trade through that area here. Okay, we're not getting it. Not getting it. We're getting sellers bring it back in. Let's get back up here again, 66. And let's see if we can get our buyers. Okay, now we got to cover the opposite scenario here. Okay, they're on the bid at 64. What's the reaction to this here? See how the reaction was sellers? So this is not really prime, reading here. Volume wise it is. Heat map wise it's not. Volume wise looks like a breakout. Okay, heat map wise they're pulling down here. We didn't like it. Okay, the buying continues. There they go. And there's 70. Just about 70. There they go. All right. Not the, I mean, we're looking for it. In terms of a setup or like, a prime order flow reading, it was a little tricky. It wasn't the easiest, but we had our reasons to think we might reach this 70 level. In fact, we had them over here. And then we had the sellers come in. I really did think they were going to drop it here into 50 and below, because it was pretty strong selling in here. All right, buyers countered though, and they brought it back up. We got our buyers again in here, and we got our breakout. All right, so you're welcome, O Little. Yeah, so this you look for these again and again, and look for variations in this again and again. It's just how it works. And what we're covering in here is we try to be as objective as possible. The more objective we are with the reading and the condition of the market, the more rational we stay, the less emotional, and the more that these seem to kind of work out, because we're just reading the condition here and understanding where price might go, and try to keep it really simple here. Now that said, let's start to zoom out and let's look at higher time frames using the same principles that we just went over. So for you guys in YouTube with all these questions in here, so who's in control in this market and where did they take control? Okay, from what you're looking at in this viewable chart right now. So we want to understand every level here in different time frames. So in these markets, as you guys know, they're fractal. So what we look at in a smaller time frame, it, fits into the bigger time frame, the higher time frame, etc. It works on a monthly chart. Okay, so let's actually, I usually demo this in the direction of, yes, exactly, Raja. Sellers took control, and they took control at the open here, just after the open at 38.80. This is exactly the answer. Beautiful. Okay, they remain in control. Okay, in this time frame for today, a cash session. Okay, and buyers are coming in, right? And they just broke out a little bit here. Is it sustained? Is to be seen. Maybe it just pops its head above here, and then we see sellers come in and maybe go for the high volume node or POC back down into here, or just back down into this range. Okay, just because like this is outside of value, because sellers have already demonstrated they are in control here, that this is not as valuable as they thought previously, this instrument. Okay, so we look for this. Okay, and we look for that sustainable kind of move, that and we look for trend continuation until we see someone counter. And we started to note that at the beginning of the webinar here. It's like, well, there's some buyers in here, there's some buyers in here. Okay, some more up here. Let's see them break out into 70. One more push down, and then the sellers, typically what we see is this move continues. But we got some back and forth in here. We got buyers back up here, so we're looking for the break. Okay, now they've only come up to 70 though. And they need, if buyers are going to take control, we need to see them come back up and test these guys up here at 80 and above. So would you say they defend at the levels to the left? Yeah, that's what you look for. Exactly. Are they defending it? Exactly. Or do we see like not necessarily defense, but also just weakness on the offense, or both? Right, and that's what we read in the auction and the order flow. Raja, you got it. Yeah, we do this all the time. I mean, this is what we do in our reading here. But you know, it's these nuances in here is what gives us a lot of insight. Then we start to look at stops and icebergs, or CVD, or whatever it might be, sweeps. DXFeed does provide data for futures. So yep, CL, GC, RB, ZB, yep, Yogi. Yeah, you should be able to get all of those from DXFeed. We don't really know if Raja, who's exited or who's coming back in. But what we can read though is, like, for example, stops here. This is a good example actually. So we're looking for the breakout here. We got buyers up here, but let's understand what kind of buyers these are up into the 70 level. Okay, these are people exiting the market, most likely exiting. They could be buy stops to enter. Okay, but usually, typically, it's a stop run. And we see the spike here with the red line to the upside. Okay, so if that is the case, that a lot of these are stops up in here, and there's quite a few in here. There's like about 300. It's a pretty good reading. It's not the best, but 300 is not bad for the ES. And you know, what does that mean then? Well, this move then here is really kind of a false move in essence. Is people getting stopped out of the market, not entering to buy and try to bring this higher. Okay, so that's why it's important to read some of these other nuances in here. And look who's on the other side of it here. Okay, so we see quite a few iceberg selling up in this area here too. So there's your relationship between the retail traders here getting stopped out, and the larger players using iceberg orders to absorb the stops. And just you know, kind of sad to see this, but this is just how the market works. Yeah, more iceberg buying here and then selling on that, which is kind of odd. Nonetheless, this is just objective information here. Don't know what I make of that. SVP, CVP are very simple to read them in here. Well, you just look at your, this stands for chart range volume profile. It just gives you the profile for the viewable range. SVP is for the entire session when I opened up my Bookmap, and all of the transactions since then. Okay, look at the buyers come in. Okay, now, you know, we can talk about within ranges and look to see you know, like this here would have been I would have loved to have taken this, but only up to about here, like a scalp, and then try to hold for a runner back up to 70 here. Okay, here's why. Okay, so this is kind of a trade within the structure, but I'm looking for it to move outside of the structure. Right, so this is another way to look at the market, right? So here's our structure in this kind of you know, downtrend here, or, you know, kind of selling off here, and then at this little range in here, well, we had some sellers here, no sellers here, buyers start to come in. Okay, cool, but we're still within the structure, so I'm just looking for the top of that structure to test and then get out. Right, just this looked pretty good that the buyers were going to do that because they had a lot of buying pressure in here, but I'm not necessarily looking for that structure to break. Okay, so that would be an easy one, I think. Does that make sense? Do you want me to go through that in more detail? Now you can use this on small time frames, high time frames, it doesn't matter. Same concept though. Okay, the runner, I would have been stopped out at break even on it and look to maybe even sell now. That was an uncommon pattern. I don't really see this very often. Well, you see it, but like, you know, a lot of buying in here followed by a lot of selling right after. Maybe just try to upend each other. I mean, these guys may be battling. I'm not really sure what to make of that. It's not a whole lot, you know. We're only talking about maybe a couple hundred. So, you know, we want the kind of the bigger picture here. Like, see how this is kind of you can still see it, but this is more important down here, right? This is more important down here. Look at all that. Okay, well, here we go. Buyers back up here. Can they break out of this here? All right, well, I'm looking for them to try to break out of it, but I don't like it. It's not, I'm not seeing, again, like a lot of support here on the bid. Okay, they're pulling on the offer. Looks okay. Likely we'll get the breakout, 68.70, but I very easily sellers can come in and drive it right back down to 62 or 61. Okay, so it's that kind of day here, and it's not worth the risk. If something changes, then that's something else. Okay, so no, this is pretty simple. This was all aggressor. The sellers could have come in here yet again, because it's dark underneath, and they could have driven it right back down to 62 or 61. However, I like seeing this kind of momentum or the buying starting to pick up, so I'm not looking for much here. Just top of the structure. Okay, it's basically kind of, there was a smaller structure here, there's a bigger structure here. They were starting to break out of the smaller structure, but just to take your profit to the top of the bigger structure. That's all. Those are the details. It's you know, it's not much of a move here, but that's the detail. All right, well, let's zoom out. Guys, let's go over, you know what, we're going to kind of veer away here for just a second, and we're going to come back to this. I want to look at the higher time frame. Okay, so on the daily chart here on the left, in the center we have an hourly chart, hourly bars. These are just simple candlestick hourly bars for the cash. They're all for the cash session only. That's why you see the gaps. Okay, and we have the 15-minute chart over here. Okay, so a question on the daily here: who's in control? Okay, in the order flow, who's moving the market? These aren't, I'm going to keep it real simple. Thanks, Doug. Doug's looking at that, and he's over in Discord. Guys, if you want to jump over to Discord as well, we have a great community over there with people like Doug, Tom B, God, we got all sorts of guys in here. Look, Bert, um, uh, uh, Slowdown is he's kind of new in here, but uh, yeah, we have all sorts of guys in here. Alec, and boy, I mean, I'm sorry, just kind of come to a blank at the moment, but I mean, the list is rather long. Matt, another one. Matt's kind of new as well. Yeah, so they're answering the question. Sellers are in control, right? Raja, right? Marvin. Okay, so take a look at the structure in this chart and look at the order flow within this chart. So now it's not much of a chart, and I don't like these charts, but it's just a simple candlestick, and that's what I want to cover. This is our Trader Pro, and it's very basic, and that's why we use it, because it's just very basic, and I have access to it. But where would you think, based on this, that sellers took control from this market? So don't worry about volume profile. Don't worry about anything else in here. Just where do you think they took control? Okay, and it's a complex answer. There could be multiple answers, but one does stick out pretty good. Yeah, I would agree. Up in here, you know, you see the big move down, right? This is where it kind of kicked off, and I just don't have other data in here. We can go look at 6 months back and look at a little bit more in here. But yeah, this actually looks pretty good even in here with 6 months back. Okay, this is a good area. Look at the move here. A couple of days, big days down, and then some back and forth, but it still held lower. Okay, so sellers are in control from about this point onward. So 4,500, roughly 4,500, Matt, exactly. All right, so we're using the same process in here. Now this is order flow. Sellers, they're just, you know, able to make it down to where buyers were in control at this point here after this little bump and this move higher. Okay, and look what price did down here. It went back and forth for several days, kind of volatile in here, big swings on these days here, back and forth. Okay, well, sellers won the battle. Now look how they won the battle though. Here, this candle here. Okay, we can get down to the 3 month here at that point. Yikes, I think. Hold on. What day is this? May 8th. Okay. May 8th. Yeah, got it. Or 9th. So this is where sellers came in, and look how they took control though. Right? It's not that big red candle. It's not bad, but it's a lot smaller than some of the other ones. So look at the back and forth in here. Right? Look at the buyers in here and retested kind of where, you know, it dropped from. Well, they kind of retested back up into this kind of range in here. And then now here's a really good one though. Where did sellers take control? Here. Okay, in June. Okay, June starts around here. Okay, and it ends right around here. Where did sellers take control? Okay, well, right in here. So around 41.20. Okay, even 40, just 41 basically. All right, so look at now. This is a lot stronger move than this one over here. Right, so you would kind of anticipate buyers to fight back in here. Here, buyers don't fight back. Okay, they're starting to in here. Okay, but sellers still remain firmly in control, no question. Right, so and buyers can't even reach back up here yet. Okay, they may, but we don't see it yet. Right, so question would be, what will we look for here? Okay, right in this area here, around 39.35 or so. we look for buyers. Okay, now we can take this to the smaller time frame. All right, so we know that sellers are in control. So bigger picture, sellers are in control. Do you want to remain bullish or bearish? Okay, well, we're looking, we're going to look at the order flow at these key levels in here. Here's buyers trying to regain control, and they got a little bit out of it, but look how the sellers came back and countered right back down into where they bought. Okay, but buyers are back again buying. Now look at the condition of the buying in here. It took several days. Well, it took 1 day to drop it like that, several days to come back up here, right? So this order flow in here, okay, and I kind of hate to call it order flow, but the concept is the same. These moves took several days to get back up here. Okay, and they didn't even make it up to the swing. Okay, up here. So this is bearish. So seeing this come in today, I would actually be looking for the bears to try to trade right back down to this like 3750 area down here, okay, where there was previously buyers, okay, on the daily chart. So for your day, maybe you're bearish. Okay, so you're looking for that continuation. Okay, maybe from the previous last week in here, maybe it just for the day it comes down and retests right here, the swing right here. All right, so our 3830 area here, something like that. All right, so really simple here. Now this is the daily chart, right? And we're starting to understand who's in control on these time frames. Now markets are fractal. We'll go to the hourly chart here and look at the volatility back and forth. Okay, so do we still have that same bias in here on the hourly? Let's take a look. Well, this is where buyers leaped and took control from this hourly, but look how the sellers come right back in and pound on it. Okay, so we're just seeing it back and forth in here on this hourly. Okay, here's the move to the downside. Here's the gap, consolidation, the breakout. Buyers did take control here on this time frame. Sellers bring it right back down, and they bring it back down to the bottom of this range here, and then we found some buyers. And then yet again here, what day is this here? Not sure what day it is. 28th, or 29th, something like that. And anyway, point is, like, we come back down to the bottom of the range and we're still finding buyers in here, okay, but only down in here, to try to move this back up. They successfully moved it back up, and we see buyers kind of counter it here again. Okay, now pretty strong buying here, pretty strong selling here. It's not giving us much. Okay, the hourly chart here is not giving us much. Right, so where do we think it's going to go in here? Well, we can see the gap in here, and we see the down day here for the first few hours. So yeah, maybe they can continue a little bit lower to try to find these buyers at a lower level here, so around 38.25. Okay, so let's mark it up. Let's just look for that as being a potential target. Okay, same ideas that we're looking at on Bookmap. Let's see, drawing and horizontal, and 38.35, right? Okay. So yeah, maybe we'll get a move to there, maybe even a little bit lower, maybe to about here, something like that, somewhere around in here. All right, so now you have a plan based on who's been in control. Okay, now this plan on this hourly chart is not so good. Okay, recognize that this isn't so strong in here. There's buyers, there's sellers, there's buyers, there's sellers. Okay, so We want to understand that this context in here. Let's look at the 15-minute chart. Okay, so we're on the daily chart. We have a bearish slant overall. On the hourly chart, it's really back and forth in here. On the 15-minute, we see these moves higher, moves higher. This is from on the 5th here, or yeah, on the 5th. And yeah, look up in these areas in here. See that some strong buying countered by sellers. Not so strong in here, countered by some sellers at the close here last Friday. And then now we have our gap. All right, so, and we're seeing sellers. And we're seeing sellers below this range in here. All right, so yeah, I'd be looking for sellers to retest the on this time frame. I'm looking for sellers to, and it goes in line with the we're kind of not getting much out of the hourly. We're getting something out of the daily though, a bit. And then on the 15-minute chart, yeah, we're sellers, you know, we already know from the day here sellers took control. We're looking to see if they can continue down to 38.50 to retest that, and then try to break it back down into, I really like this area here around 38.40. Okay, so in fact, let's just make this one 38.40 as well. No, I'll leave it here at 35. I like it. Okay, here though, I want to look at 38.40. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm just looking for sellers to reach back down to there. Okay, based off of the aggressors in here, right? Now the aggressors is all we can read. And we're reading aggregated data within a time period here. Right now we got to cover the other side here. What if we see a ton of buying, ton of icebergs on the buy side, and then we start to see like the move higher? Okay, we'll cover that. Okay, well then we'd be looking for a gap fill up here. There's a few different areas to take a look. $3,900. Yeah, that looks good. And then this is where it broke from. So the first thing would be to retest back up to here, which would be 38.80. Okay, horizontal line 38.80. There we go. All right, so we got a pretty big range, and it's been really kind of back and forth in here from that hourly. Okay, so on the 15-minute though, we see the move away from this previous area. So I'm still looking to try to see if we can retest down here, and that would be the bias. This isn't bad either. You can see the swings up here, and it's kind of bouncing off of that, but yeah, still want to see it lower basically. All right, so anyway, now we've looked at the higher time frame using the same process of order flow. That's the key. Okay, this is pretty simple stuff. It's not complex. It's not you know, Elliott wave or you know, Wyckoff stuff is pretty simple. Same ideas, actually, very similar ideas about accumulation, distribution, markup, and markdown. Same ideas basically in here that we're looking at. But now we're going to apply it to and then get the confirmation of these moves in Bookmap, okay, from the order flow. Okay, we're kind of piecing together the order flow as best we can with the information that we see here. And Bookmap is going to confirm the direction though. All right, so let's jump in. And you can see it, like, it's just been a mess here. It's been totally back and forth. Right, so we did get our movement up into 70. Sellers came back in, buyers come back in again. Right, so we're not really seeing much here right now. Okay, so yeah, there's really nothing based on that analysis here. What we need to see here basically is yeah, this maybe there's a potential opportunity up here right now. Let's take a look here. Okay, 60, 64, 63, somewhere around in here. See how the buyers are coming in? Okay, what we're looking for is some sellers or some exhaustion here on the buy side. Here we go. There's some. Here's some selling. All right, sellers, you should be able to drop it right back down to here, 61 or yeah, 61 and a half here. Okay, here's some exhaustion. Okay, well, all it did was come back down to 62 and a half, and we still got buyers here. Okay, so yeah, it's not ready yet. They're still buying. Okay, we thought maybe this exhaustion here, maybe we'd get the move back down to about 61 and a half. Let's see if we get it now. Okay, some pretty good selling. Here we go. All right, sellers, let's see it. There's our on the offer. See that on the offer? See them pulling on the bid? See the sellers? All right, we should get our move down to 61, or liquidity down here. Okay, buyers came back in at 62, or on the bid here at 62. And they're pulling back at 64. It's still back and forth in here. Still back and forth, guys. So yeah, sorry, trying to extrapolate our higher time frame and then the current order flow in here, and put the pieces together. It's just not ready quite yet. You know, we see some selling, we see some buying. It's been that way the entire session here. Okay, except for this move here. Sellers still firmly in control. Okay, everything else in here has been really back and forth. Okay, still for all of those reasons though, and for our higher time frame analysis in here, okay, we have a bias here, looking for sellers to try to drive it down into our level. Okay, not the greatest. It's not the kind of prime reading in here. The hourly charts all over the place. 15-minute charts not the greatest either. I do like them trying to pull away from this area up here though, and they've done that. So I want to see the continuation, and we're not getting it. We're not getting continuation to the downside yet. All right, guys. Well, anyway, I hope that was helpful. Let me try to catch up with some of these questions in here. Raja, let's see. Yeah, Raja, I think you've got it down. You understand what what we're going over here. Sounds like the expanded candles is no different than this kind of move in here, or like this kind of move in here. They're trying to move it away from an area. But see how like in here, this is what we have to be kind of careful of, is like, yeah, this looks great, and we have even more selling down here. It looks great. Look where the sellers got upended, and watch the stop run here to the upside here, right? So there's a trap here, and the trap is set here, okay, and the buyer's coming in here, right? Now we don't see too many stops. We just had a nice little stop run now, which makes sense, back up into top of these ranges in here. So let's see if we can get a little bit more. But anyway, we're trying to go with we're trying to get something that is higher probability in here, in order flow, and looking at our higher time frames, and then looking at what we know what to look for in the lower time frame in Bookmap. Okay, and that will be an edge. That will be helpful. Okay, so if we do see sellers in here, I'm looking for them to trade right back down to 61, where they just broke out from. They're trying to. Sorry, Raja, I can't keep up with your questions in here about 3,800. but just by covering all that stuff there on the higher time frame. Anyway, we'll get back into it. Thanks, Ricky. Appreciate that. Johannes, you're new here. Nice. We do these streams every day, 3 days a week. This is the live forward-looking analysis. And then we have live trading 2 days a week, Jay Trader and Scott Pulcini. And then Tom B, Monday through Wednesday, volume profile trader, immediately after this webinar at 11:30. So in another 15 minutes, Tom will start. Okay, and he'll go over volume profile, right? Instead of like, who's in control and what we're looking at in terms of order flow, he'll be looking at these profiles in here. And then putting the order flow together via the profile. Okay, so many ways to slice and dice the market. Can we go over stops and icebergs? Yeah, sure. Icebergs are larger players. They're using iceberg orders or hidden orders, and these are native ones to the CME exchange. And the reason that they're using them is they don't want to show their liquidity in the order book. They think it would scare price away. Okay, so what are they doing? They're hiding their liquidity. It trades, but it's not seen in the order book. All right, so that gives us some insight to where larger players are dealing. Okay, that's it. And it's this blue line down here. We also have the on chart here indicator. And let's take a look at that. Biljin, are the charts without ETH? Yeah, I'm the candlestick charts. Yes, those are just cash session. That's why you had the gaps in there. The bookmap chart, I have data going back to, I don't know, around 12 or maybe 8 o'clock. Let's take a look. Yeah, since 8 o'clock yesterday, 8 p.m. All right. All right, so we got stops and icebergs up on chart as well. Let me filter these a bit. I really like the way we filter these. You can use this automatic threshold in here. Okay. I'm not going to cover that right now. I want to just go over the reading here. Okay, so you can see I kind of had to reset this in here. So we're looking at a filter of 44 or above in terms of stops. And then in terms of icebergs, 46 and above. Okay, otherwise don't display it. And it's actually, well, we can display it, but it's like kind of semi-transparent in here. Okay, so we're just looking for bigger transactions. Here's an iceberg down here. Okay, this is the kind of insight you can get. Like this is amazing. Like here, this trader here got filled here. With 563, it's just on one order, or yeah, one transaction looks like. So this is a bigger player, no question, right? And he's still here providing liquidity that's hidden. So I guess it's not it's not providing. He's not providing anything except we can read him here. Okay. So let's move on and yeah, in the bottom chart here, stops and icebergs, these are my settings here. I like the summation here. I don't like looking at the spikes. You can look at the spikes using these other settings in here. Sliding is what I recommend if you do that. But you can see my axes here, they are not aligned. So it's just giving me reference in here. You can see the axis here for the stops is different from the icebergs. That's okay. I just want to see the bigger moves in here and then compare them and have a reference. I understand what's a bigger move here. in terms of stops and to itself, and then icebergs to itself. Okay, so all of this little nibbling in here for icebergs is rather meaningless compared to the bigger liquidity down here where they bought quite a bit. Okay, which, you know, had an impact on the market. There's high liquidity, got icebergs, and we were looking for the continuation down here, and we covered the opposite. If we get our buyers to come in, then, you know, looking for higher liquidity on the other side, as well as some of these swings in here. Even this buying in here, though, overall there's more selling in here, I believe. Let's just double check that with our CVD. Boy, there's quite a bit of buying coming in here too. Okay, still more sellers though from the get-go. Anyway, guys, we're looking for a really good move after all of this consolidation in here. Something's going to break, and it's going to be pretty good. Okay, so here they're sellers retesting the top of this range. Okay, so let's go over another concept in here, and we can look for it in the order flow. Okay, this is where we said the trap was set, and we're looking for stops above. Now we have another trap set, and we're looking for stops to the downside below, back down into this area here. Okay, so how do we read that? Well, let's go in here. Okay, they're on the offer here. That's good. Do we see sellers here? Not. There's some. It's not so great. Do we see buyers in here? There's some. So we don't really have too much here at the moment. And there's quite a bit of buying, or, you know, buyers here on the bid between 61 and 60. Okay, so we don't really have too much for that reading. We're really not looking for the breakdown here, right? So this move back up, you know, makes it just back up into the range here. Now, see how dark it is underneath here? We've made it back to the range. Watch the sellers come in and try to move it right back down to here where they broke out from. Okay, so around the 63 area here. And they're not really too interested in this liquidity here at 65. They're more interested now. Okay, we got some buyers. We got a little bit of a flip of the order book. Okay, this leaves the door open actually for buyers to reach higher here. Let's see if they go for it. Yeah, it's pretty back and forth in here. You know, we're not really seeing too much in terms of this lower time frame order flow. Okay, so what's the kind of overall reading then? Well, we're not getting too much out of it. You know, what's the overall reading from these three charts in here? Well, we outlined the two different scenarios in here, and we're not getting really either yet. Okay, it's just kind of chopping around in here, waiting for something to move. Okay, here's our sellers here at 62 or 63. I like this one actually. I'm looking to see if we can see the sellers drop it now. Let's see if we get sellers down here more at 61. There they go. Okay. All right. So now this is that potential trap. Okay. We got the buyers up here. We've got sellers coming back in. We're looking for this rectangle here. Looking to see if the sellers can drop it back down to 58 and then back down to the bottom of the range here at 55. Okay. Yeah, I like it. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. They're on the offer here. That's good. We're not seeing a whole bunch of buyers here. Let's see if we get a bit more sellers. Yep. All right, sellers, you got it here if you want it. Let's see if they go for it here. Looking for more sellers here at 61 and then the push through. Don't like that it's still kind of dark up here. but still looking for sellers here nonetheless. Is it high? Is it that prime setup? It's still, we're really, it's not yet. It might be. Let's see if these more sellers on the offer here, and let's see if we get more sellers here. There they go, 7 at 60 and a half. Yeah, you know, I mean, we're looking for it, but it, yeah, I would stay away from it, and it's not worth the risk. But I'm looking for it to drop. The order flow reading would be for the drop here. Now, in terms of you know, order flow reading here, we noted like it doesn't have all the pieces, but we're still looking for it. So this would be up to yourself about trade management. Like if you're going to be taking prime order flow reading readings and then parlaying that into a strategy for yourself, then you know, you can quantify it. When it's not a prime reading in here, well, you might consider then playing around with the your account management and your trade management. Okay, you'd be looking for it to work, but it's not prime, so don't put a full amount on it. You know, so that's and then also manage it very closely. Okay, so for example, you see the selling coming in like in here, and you're looking for the move. Well, you would have been stopped out. Okay, but not for much, and maybe up here, and you're out. Okay, or maybe even moved it to break even. It should work here right now, and then don't have these losses add up. You know, so I mean, these are just considerations. This is really something you've got to put together for yourself. Bookmap is just the platform. Right, there are many different ways to slice and dice it. So that those elements are up to you guys. We'll cover them. We'll answer questions on it. But you know, it's not a prime reading, right? So we'll veer away from it, and then but you can still, you know, look for something and maybe scalp a few points and get out, etc. Okay, buyers come back in, still really dark underneath here. Sellers can bring it right back down to 63 very easily, maybe even further. 61 and a half, 62, 61 and a half. Let's see here, some more questions. Brady, using Bookmap Classic order flow, volume profile, market profile. You love it. You're scalping. Excellent. Gives you the freedom you want. Yeah, that's great. I mean, like, I mean, I think like you know, we've been covering this, like, like looking for something that gives us more insight, more clarity. If we don't get it, then we just stay away. And we noted that many times today. Okay, and we didn't really have that clarity. There was a few that were a little bit better than others, but you know, like this down here, we noted like, yeah, it's not prime, but it should. I like the selling that's coming in. They're trying to move it away from this area and try to get down into this other rectangle here. They couldn't do it. Buyers countered, and now, you know, these sellers in here are likely to get the squeeze back up into 67 and maybe 70 again. But hey, yeah, I would say the same thing by looking at this. Same thing. Look at, they're selling down here, looking for the continuation, right? trying to align this with our bigger picture and our higher time frame. It made a lower high. Well, it made a higher low down here too. Anyway, we're trying to look for something that gives us an edge. And just not getting much today. Let's see here, more questions. CVP, SVP, high areas at 63. The orders came in, and that's the alignment we are looking for in the pullback. Yeah, I'm not sure I quite follow you on that. In here, when we're looking for this directional move to kind of follow through. Yeah, I mean, we're looking to see if we can get more volume back down below here and then reach back down to probably this profile or bottom of the range here. And then, then we can go for lower of the day, etc. in the live area right now. In the live area right now, it's just back and forth. We're still back at it here. Selling's good, buying's pretty good, just bashing back and forth within this range here. I want to see it drop below the range in continuation here. Now, if you're a range bound trader, yeah, maybe you're just doing great today. So you're looking for something else. You're not looking for, and hear me out on this. So what you're not looking for a good reading in the order flow. Okay, you're looking for kind of a confusion in the order flow. Okay, if you get that, well, then that might be a really good range bound strategy. Now you just have to be really careful because you're looking for something that's not giving you a signal, basically. Okay, so like in here, what's the reading up in here? Yeah, this would be a good example. Not really seeing it. Okay, well then looking for a move back down to here, 63. So, if that's the case, you'd probably get in probably around here, 65, 66 and a half or something. And then only looking to scalp it down to the middle of the range here. Okay. Now, that said, one thing that you can look at here is you're scalping the outside range into the middle. And we've covered this strategy. Is you're looking then for the reading and the order flow, the continuation back down to here, and then maybe the bigger move. So what we're doing though is scalping to the middle, covering, and then looking for the bigger move. Make sense? Okay, so this played out already pretty nicely. You would cover some already, okay, but you would hold, and you're looking for now the bigger move back down to bottom of the low of the day, as well as your higher time frame down here. Well, 38.50 is that low. Maybe you can go back down to 40 as well. Okay, makes sense. So again, so many different ways to look at this. We know sellers are in control, okay, for the day, and we're looking for that alignment with the higher time frame, which we have. And then here's top of the range, nothing in the range or nothing in the order flow telling us it's going to break out. So we're looking for a move back into the middle of the range, cover, and then hold for a runner if you can. Yeah, Dr. Moo. Yeah, exactly. This is when you don't have this kind of clarity, but you can still use it to your edge, to your advantage. It depends on what you're trading. or how you're trading, what your strategy. It sounds like you've got something working quite well. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I like it when the order flow sets up and it tells us something, like the market participants want to move it in a certain way, and it's got fuel behind it with people that are caught on the wrong side, and we're looking for the follow through. So and I like the order flow to tell me that. Today there's been a lot of not telling us much, but it's been pretty good for some range bound trades, and we're set up for, if it does tell us, we're already set up, right? In this one, for example. So we'll see if we get follow through. All right, guys. Well, we covered a lot of different points in here. We went through reading the order flow on higher time frames, lower time frames, and what to look for in the order flow at specific levels, keeping it really simple and objective. And then we also covered when we don't see something, these can be potentially good range bound readings in here for the just back and forth to continue. So anyway, guys, let's leave it at that. If you like this, please give a thumbs up in there in YouTube. This is what helps us do more and more of these and continue doing these. So it's not asking for much. Subscribe to the channel and give us a thumbs up. This really helps us continue and do this, and we want to grow into a trader network. We're already growing. We already have it. We've got J Trader, like looking at pullbacks strategies as well as other strategies, and we've got Scott Pulsini looking for directional moves and specific levels, and he's looking at stops and icebergs to give him a lot of insight on those. And then these kind of very simple order flow readings in here. So we want to add more guys in here. Let me show you something on YouTube, for example, that you may find helpful. Okay, so it's our educational course. We'll scroll down a little bit lower here, and it's under bonus materials here, Bookmap educational course. Click on view full playlist here. Okay, there's 4 parts here. Just start off with part 1 and part 2. They're an hour long each. You can even speed them up and look at it at two times the speed. But this sets a very nice foundation of understanding what Bookmap is showing and how to read it. Okay, put everything else on the back burner, and keep it in mind, but like not for later. Weave your way of trading back into it after watching these. I think you'll find that very helpful, because it'll help you with your higher time frame strategy or lower time frame strategy. All right, so that's the idea, so that you can apply it to any type of trading method. So here's our look at this move. I mean, guys, we're really trying to try to hold on to this, looking for that move and that continuation. Well, it made it down to 59, and that's as far as it went, and then it's right back in the middle of the range here. So we're not getting much out of it here today. We were looking to maybe get in here, trade it back down, take some, and then try to hold it. And now if you're trying to hold that for that bigger move, it's up to you. Like I'd probably take my stop here and look for the next setup. Or you could have another consideration in here, and let's just go through a very simple way. Here's where we took some off. Okay, so we got in. Let's edit this one. Okay, we got in. We took some off there with that rectangle. This rectangle here, this is where your overall stop would be up here, and it would be break even now. So right now, there you go. You would have been stopped out at break even overall. Okay, so you didn't lose anything here, or maybe you took +1 or 2 or whatever it is to cover your costs. So it's truly a break-even trade. Okay, so that's one way to consider it, but you held it looking for the bigger move. Okay, or another one was you take your partial and looking for the bigger move, and so you made some profit, and on the next one you got stopped out at break even. Okay, another one is like maybe you're just totally looking for the range bound trade, and that would be the bottom of the range right here, around 60, and you would have been filled and out of the market, and that's that. Okay, so you made from 66 to 63, so you made 3 points, and then 63 down to 60, you made another 3 points, and that's it. Okay, so, or I'm sorry, 6 points. So you made 3 and then you made 6, and then you're out. You would have missed the bigger move if it continued. So it's up to you, how you want to manage that on a day like today. All right, guys. Yeah, playing ping pong, Dr. Moo. Yeah, thanks, Brian. You subscribed. Excellent. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks, everybody. We'll do it again tomorrow, and stay tuned. I think this video here will redirect you right to Tom B's stream looking at volume profile, and you can take this further. Okay, thanks, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.